You are listening to the Heal, Heart and Soul podcast. For those of us who love an alcoholic, life can feel so out of control, so chaotic, that we wonder how we will ever make it through with our sanity intact. After loving an alcoholic for over 30 years, I can tell you that you can absolutely do this. You can not only survive, but even find peace right in the middle of the chaos. Here's 5 tips to help you. Number 1, find a trusted friend or support group where you can talk openly about how you feel. Often this is the hardest step because we feel very loyal to our alcoholic loved one, and we know that they would feel that we had betrayed them by telling someone else that they have a problem. They may even have forbidden us from telling anyone, and you know that they may grow angry if they know you have talked to someone else. But for your own sanity, you need to reach out to someone you trust. The old saying, a burden shared is a burden halved, is really true. Having a loved one who drinks too much is a very lonely existence if you have no one to talk to. I remember being in this exact position. After 10 years of being an alcoholic, my husband finally took some action and booked himself into a rehab clinic, but he made me swear not to tell anyone. We made up what we thought was a plausible story, that the kidney problems he'd had as a teenager had returned, and he had gone interstate to see a specialist. We knew that if we told our friends that he was in a local hospital, they would come and visit, and then they would know the truth. Our secret would be out. But after 2 weeks, my kind, supportive friends from church decided that they would pay for me to fly interstate to be with him. I knew I couldn't take their money for a lie. I panicked and told them he was doing much better and would be home in a few days. I hated lying to these kind, wonderful people, but I felt I had no choice. I didn't want to betray my husband by telling our friends the truth. But it was so lonely keeping his secret. After rehab, he stayed sober for about 2 months and then he went back to drinking again. You don't need to suffer alone. For your own sanity, you need to reach out for support. It may even be a group like Al-anon or another kind of group, or it may just be a trusted friend. It's up to you whether you tell your alcoholic loved one that you have reached out for support. You certainly don't have to, but if you do, even if they get angry, let them own their own response to the situation. It's time for you to take care of your own needs, and you need support. Number 2, stop trying to control them. Most of us who love an alcoholic spend our lives trying to control them, controlling their alcohol use, controlling their money, controlling their whereabouts, and controlling whether they got to work on time or if they even went to work at all. After years and years of trying this, you finally come to realise that it simply doesn't work. All it does is alienate them and push them away. It may even lead to them drinking more. They will always find a way to drink. Instead, invest your time and energy into looking after yourself. Number 3, increase your self-care. One day when you have a few minutes of quiet time, Make a list of the things that you enjoy, things that nurture you and recharge your batteries. What do you enjoy? Do you have any hobbies or sports or social groups? What makes you feel refreshed and recharged? What makes you feel calm? What makes you feel stronger? When do you feel most rested? Only when you are taking really good care of yourself will you be in the right space emotionally, physically, and spiritually to deal with your alcoholic loved one. If possible, try and do something to nurture yourself for 15 to 30 minutes a day. Here are some examples. Putting on your favourite music. Have a playlist ready to go. Having a swim or a spa. Talking to a trusted friend. Going to see a counsellor or psychologist. Having a mani-pedi. Spending time in nature, beach, forest, etc. Spending time with animals. Having a 10 or 20 minute power nap. Reading a good book. Doing some meditation or yoga. Painting, pottery, photography, scrapbooking, gardening, cooking. Just sitting in the sun and closing your eyes. Doing some deep breathing. Attending a support group such as Al-anon. Watching a favourite TV program. Organising part of your house. Writing in a journal. Reading a book or listening to an audiobook. One book I really enjoyed listening to on Audible was called Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. Having a cup of your favourite herbal tea and drinking it in a quiet space. Going to a garden centre and buying a plant. Reading a spiritual book, such as the Bible or other spiritual texts. Writing a list of things that you are grateful for. Getting to bed early, or maybe waking up before the kids to fit in a little me time. It can be hard making time for self-care when you're dealing with the fallout from loving an alcoholic. And particularly if you have young children at the same time. It's a lot. Life is just crazy busy. How can you possibly find time for yourself? We all get the same 24 hours a day. Look carefully. There will be some space that you can fit in time for yourself. Do you really need to be on the parent committee at school? Or volunteering at the food drive at church? Do your kids really need to be doing 3 out-of-school activities each week? Look hard. You will find some time somewhere. If you have small children that need to have a babysitter and you don't have the money to pay for one, try and make an arrangement with another mum you know and trust, and take turns minding each other's children. You will both benefit with some much needed time out. You will be a far better mum, partner, sister or friend by making self-care one of your highest priorities. Number 4, learning to say no. Most of us who are in a relationship with an alcoholic are people pleasers. This means we naturally hate saying no to people. There are many reasons for this. We genuinely care about people and we want to help them. We don't want others to think badly of us. We are afraid of other people's anger or disappointment if we say no. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be unkind or rude when someone else has a need. We think it is unchristian or selfish to say no. We care what others think of us more than what we think of ourselves. It boosts our self-esteem when we are viewed as dependable. And we want people to like us, again trying to boost our self-esteem. Saying no is closely linked to our self-care. When you love an alcoholic, life is very chaotic, and it can take considerable time and energy dealing with the fallout of our loved one's latest drinking episode. This is made all the worse when we have kept our loved one's drinking a secret. To the outside world, it may even look like we have the perfect marriage or family. When you look at the situation honestly, you know that you can't cope with any more on your plate. But when others don't know the chaos and the pain that you're facing on a daily basis, they may be less understanding about why we simply don't have the strength to do one more thing. The bottom line is, it simply doesn't matter what other people think of us. Only we know what we can cope with, and it is better to say a polite no than to get ourselves in a position where we can't cope, have too much on our plate, and crash with exhaustion and depression. Just a polite yet firm, "No, I'm sorry, I won't be able to do that," is enough. If they are your true friends or colleagues, they will respect your no. Regardless of their response, you will have the relief of knowing that you are putting your needs and the needs of your family first. Number 5, try trusting in God. I don't know whether you believe in a God, a creator, a supreme being that is in control of the world. Even if you are not sure if God exists, or maybe you do believe he exists, but you don't know if he'd be interested in you personally, I really recommend just giving trusting God a try. I find that when I truly decide to trust in God and give him all my worries and fears, it brings incredible peace. The Bible calls it peace beyond our understanding, meaning you can be at peace even in the middle of the chaos and drama of loving an alcoholic. If you don't feel comfortable trying to read the Bible, I'll share a few of my favourites with you in a minute. Try and think of each one as being personally for you. God's kindness to each one of us is amazing. He wants us to take all of our insecurities, worries, and fears. Imagine yourself putting them in a big brown sack, giving them to God and walking away feeling light and free, leaving everything in God's hands. It's such a relief. Try it. God loves you completely, just as you are. Here are some of my favourite Bible texts. Psalm 32 verse 10. The Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in him. Psalm 62:8. Trust in God at all times. Pour out your hearts to him, for he is our safe place. Psalm 112:7. There is no need to be afraid of bad news. When you put your trust in the Lord, your heart will be steady and calm, not anxious and afraid. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't rely on your understanding. Give your heart fully to him, and he will show you what to do. 1 Peter 5:7. Give all your anxiety and worry to God because he cares for you. And Isaiah 26 verse 3. When I put my trust in God, he will keep me in perfect peace. I hope that you found this podcast has been helpful to you. I always believe that if you can even just have one thing that makes your life a little better, it's been worth the listen. Take care, Darlene.